Hi guys, it's Amy from thecrazycraftlady.com. Today we're going to talk about plank feature walls. Whether it's shiplap or reclaimed wood, plank walls have been all the rage on Pinterest and Instagram in probably the last 5-10 years, which is great if you're a homeowner and you like to use power tools and you're okay with sawdust and having, to make multiple trips to your home improvement store to buy lumber. But if you're not quite ready for that level of commitment and that big of a project, I have some alternative ideas for you. This is great if you're a homeowner who doesn't want to take on a huge project, or if you're a renter who doesn't want to do damage to your walls and get your security deposit back still. So this is my home office, and this is my big feature wall. You guys, wallpaper. Peel and stick shiplap wallpaper. It's a fantastic resource. I love it. I've used it in our rental before and it came off just fine. I loved it so much that I decided to use it now. Even though I could have done real shiplap, this was just so much easier to do. But peel and stick wallpaper, not always cheap. And if you want to do just a very small area or do a very small section of a feature wall, I also have an idea for you that I did before in our old house. I'm going to share my full tutorial. You guys, it's just paper. You can buy big rolls of craft paper that have wood texture on them, or you can even buy regular non-adhesive wallpaper that you can then hang up. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. I did it twice in our old house, once behind my bed and once above our fireplace. So I'm going to walk you through step by step exactly how to do it. It's just masking tape on your walls, so it's great if you're a renter. No damage. And then I'm also going to walk you through how I did this peel and stick shiplap wallpaper wall as well. So stick with me, you guys. Let's get making. I first gained my inspiration to do this faux reclaimed wood wall from an $8 roll of paper. You heard me right, you guys. It's an $8 roll of paper. I found it at my craft store. I think I was at Joann's one day kind of wandering the aisles, and I was in the kids section with the teacher supplies, and I came across this paper that teachers use on their bulletin boards, and it was $8. So for $8, I was sold. I knew I was going to figure out a way to use this paper in my home. I decided to make a faux feature on part of a wall behind my headboard in my master bedroom. So for this project, you're going to need a roll of the decorative wood grain paper, a measuring tape and pencil, and a level if you have one. If you don't, not a big deal. You're also going to need masking tape, 2 8-foot 1x3 boards that you can get at any local home improvement store, a handsaw, primer and white paint, a hammer, finishing nails, and a nail setting tool. Like I said, I chose the wall behind my bed. It's small enough that I only needed one roll of paper, and I thought it would make a great feature. So all you need to do is measure your wall and center the roll of paper on the wall. Then use a pencil to mark small marks where the paper should line up. The paper that I used was 4 feet wide, so I just took the width of my wall, subtracted 48 inches, and divided by 2. I then measured this amount from each edge of the wall. I taped off the area where my paper needed to go. I used blue painter's tape on this because it's just what I have on hand, but if you're using a lighter colored paper, consider using a lighter colored tape like a cream or a white. I learned this lesson on another project when I tried to put blue tape behind it and the color kind of showed through because it was a thinner paper. Once I had all my painter's tape in place, I added little pieces of double-sided tape all over the painter's tape. This way, the double-sided tape was touching the painter's tape and not directly onto my wall and doing damage. Then I added my roll of paper. This probably in hindsight should have been a 2-person job, but I made it work. But if you're doing this, I highly recommend you use 2 people. I made sure the top edge was lined up and smoothed all the way down. So it's probably best to start like in one corner, make sure everything is lined up, and then smooth from one corner to the other side of the paper, and you want to smooth all the way down. The key is you want your paper to be as smooth as possible up against the wall. Once I made it all the way down to the bottom of the wall along the baseboard, I cut the paper at the bottom. Then it was time to finish off the edges of the paper so that it wasn't obvious that it was paper. So I just bought a couple of 1x3s at my local Home Depot, and then I cut them down to the height of my ceiling. I primed them with primer and painted them white, not a big deal. And then I used a couple of finishing nails on each board to just nail them into the wall. This way, you're using tape to get most of the paper to stick to the wall, and you only have a few tiny nail holes to patch up when you leave. If your landlord doesn't even want you to use nails or anything, you could probably secure a smaller board using command Velcro strips or something. This project was seriously cheap. Here's my budget breakdown. I used a roll of paper for $8. My two 1x3s were a total of $3, and all of my primer, paint, tape, and nails were things that I have in my craft stash from previous projects. So grand total, I spent $11 to make this faux wood feature wall. Seriously worth it. After doing this project in my bedroom, I loved the way it turned out so much that I decided to repeat the process in our living room mantel. It was pretty similar with just a few small changes. Step 1, I just taped off a grid using masking tape. Like I said before, don't use blue painter's tape if you have a lighter colored paper. I learned this the wrong way by using the blue tape first, and then when I went to put my white paper up over it, you could see the blue grid behind it, so I had to take all that tape down and redo it with regular masking tape. I know blue painter's tape sticks better than regular old masking tapes. It doesn't always leave it behind the residue. In this case, I had to go with the masking tape. Then it was time to place my pieces of double-sided tape on top of the masking tape. With this project, I was using actual real wallpaper, not peel and stick wallpaper, just plain old wallpaper. And because of that, it was a heavier duty paper, bulletin board paper that I had used before. And because of that, it didn't stick as well to the double-sided tape. So I had to use a lot of tape. And then for this one, because it wasn't a wide, 4-foot roll like I had on my bulletin board paper, it was a narrower roll of paper. I just hung this like I would regular wallpaper. I cut a length of paper, I started at one end and smoothed the paper against the wall all the way to the other end. Once I had covered the entire area mantle, I decided to finish off with trim. This time I used a thinner piece of wood than I did with the 1x3s. I just went to Home Depot and I bought oak trim that you can measure and cut yourself. You just pay by the linear foot. It's really easy to do and you can buy exactly what you need. And then for this one, instead of painting the wood trim solid white, I just kind of distressed it a little bit with a dry brush technique with some white paint, and I felt like that better coordinated with the wallpaper that I chose. So here's my mantle refresh, just like in my bedroom, super cute and virtually damage-free. So next up, I'm going to move away from the taping method using wood-looking paper, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about using peel and stick wallpaper, and I'm going to show you how I did that in my home office. So there you have it, just a couple of options for getting the look of a shiplap or a reclaimed wall in your home without nearly the amount of expense or hassle as you would with dealing with lumber and power tools and everything that comes with that. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. For more easy DIY home decor projects, be sure to hit the subscribe button below. Until next time, happy making.